Hey guys, welcome back to another global event build video. So this week it's the last event of the season and it's the Reanimated event. And I don't know about you, but it's right up there with Golden Bullet for me as one of my favorites. This event gives you absolutely crazy headshot damage, which makes one-shot builds insanely fun. And you can see right here, I have tons of bonus armor, and I just hit that boss for 64 million. And I was testing a slight variation to what you're seeing here in a previous run, and I actually hit that same boss for 80 million. That's just how crazy this event is. So with that, let's take a look at this build. Alright, so the first thing, if you didn't know, is what you're going to do is you're going to press start, go to Burden of Truth, go up here to Events Timeline, and then it's right here, 6 days 14 hours left. I'm going to open it, and then you have to activate it right here. And you have to have it activated in order to earn these stars and rewards. Alright, so unlike many other builds where the build is kind of designed around a single piece of gear or playstyle, this one is super lenient how you put it together because the Reanimated event is so powerful. So this is the way I'm using it, but there's tons of things you can swap in and out and it'll still work great. So for this build, I urge you to take a look at what I have, but then really experiment with it and do what works best for you. Like, this is plenty of armor for me, but if you want more, then you can swap out for plenty more armor because the Reanimated damage is just that powerful. So since this is a one-shot build, let's look at the two required pieces first. So for the pistol, I'm using the Harvest, and the Harvest pistol is a special pistol that drops from the Loot Goblin. So if you don't have it, you can use a Police 686 Magnum. It's the same pistol, it just has lower base damage. So mine has 15 expertise, has pistol damage, damage to targets out of cover, and you want the talent Determined here. If you don't have Determined, this build will not work. So if you have a pistol like this with a useless attribute like swap speed, you're still going to have to put Determined here. Then the second piece that's required is the chest. Now you don't necessarily need Chainkiller, you can really just put whatever chest piece you want, but it has to have the talent Headhunter. So if you don't have Chainkiller, you could take something like this Providence Defense for the headshot damage, and then you would roll Headhunter here. And Headhunter is what's going to allow us to do a crazy amount of damage, and Determined is what's letting us chain all those kills together. So for my chest piece, this is going to give me plus 5% weapon damage. I have weapon damage up here, weapon handling, headshot damage mod, and then it has the talent Perfect Headhunter, and the most important part is this down here is 150%. We want at least 150% headshot damage in this build, so that this 800% cap is raised to 1250%. So those are the two required talents to make this build work. You need Determined and you need Headhunter. So now let's look at the other pieces of gear. So for the mask, I have Punch Drunk. This is one piece of Douglas and Harding. This gives plus 20% pistol damage. It has weapon damage, headshot damage, crit chance, and a headshot damage mod here. And if you don't have this, you can just use a regular piece of Douglas and Harding, and this is just going to have 10% headshot damage here. For the backpack, I'm using one piece of Hasberg. This is going to give plus 13% headshot damage. Mine has armor, armor regen, headshot damage, and a headshot damage mod here. And then I put the talent Bloodsucker on here. So killing an enemy adds and refreshes a stack of plus 10% bonus armor for 10 seconds. Max stacks is 10. So with this build, you're going to be killing so fast, you're going to be getting tons of bonus armor. For the gloves, I'm using a second piece of Walker and Harris. This is going to give plus 5% damage to armor. Mine has weapon damage, headshot damage, and this weapon handling doesn't really do anything, but I don't have a ton of resources right now, so I'm just going to leave it. You can really roll whatever you want here because the important part is the headshot damage. For the knee pads, I'm using the Turmoil knee pads, and the only attribute that really matters here is this weapon damage. The main reason I'm using them is for this talent Bewildered. And the talent Bewildered splits 50% of your damage and sends it to another enemy. And with the Reanimated event, because you're doing so much damage, you're going to be killing 2 enemies with almost every single shot you fire. So one thing to note if you use the Turmoil knee pads is that the enemies that are killed by the Bewilder talent don't count as headshots. So those enemies will get back up. But usually there's so much corrosive damage floating around in the air, they'll almost immediately die again. But that's not always the case, so just be aware of that. If you don't have Turmoil knee pads, you can use something like the Fox's Prayer for the damage to targets out of cover, and then roll headshot damage here. Or if you want more armor, you can use something like this Gilligard for the 5% armor, and then roll headshot damage down here. For the holster, I'm using one piece of Palisade for some extra armor on kill. This has armor, and ideally you'd have headshot damage down here. But again, I'm a little low on resources, so I'm not going to re-roll this, because this build already does more than enough damage. Then for the skills, I'm using the Reviver Hive and a Bulwark Shield. Using the Reviver Hive just in case, and it has no mods on it. And I'm using the Bulwark Shield just as backup. If you miss your first headshot, things can get a little crazy, so this can help get your Determined chain going. But as long as you don't mess up your first headshot, you don't need the shield at all. So you can see right here, I missed and they scattered. So I had to pull out my Bulwark Shield so I could get a little bit closer and get that first headshot. So now let's look at the stats. Let's toggle over to our pistol. And for a crit chance, crit damage, this is nice, but doesn't really matter. It's this headshot damage that matters. So because of Headhunter, you want to have this be at least 150, but if you're above 200, it should be more than enough. Then come down here, I have 1.1 million armor, 218,000 armor on kill, and 4,700 armor regen. Then the last thing is the Specialization. For this build, the Specialization doesn't really matter, but in this case I'm just going to use Gunner. This is going to give me an extra 10% armor on kill, and then make sure you have the pistol selected here. So if you've never played a one-shot Headhunter build before, this is how you do it. It's super easy, it's just based off of the first kill. So all you need to do is headshot kill the first enemy. So when you run up on enemies, you want to try and look for the red bar standing in the group. And once you get a headshot kill on him, your damage is going to skyrocket. And now you can shoot everyone in the body and it will count as headshots. And depending on what you're doing, there's not always going to be a red barred enemy. So if you have to shoot a yellow enemy, then you're just going to have to hit them multiple times. But once you get that headshot kill, then you can just start shooting everyone in the body. Then another thing to note is that when you do these global events, you're usually trying to farm as much XP as possible. And one of the best things to farm is public executions. But the Reanimated event has been bugged for quite a while now, and the corrosive damage actually kills the hostages. Now they won't die every time, like you see here, they barely survived, but they do die enough that it's not really worth doing them. Now there's not really any other activity that stands out above the rest in terms of experience gain, so you can really just farm any activity you want without having to worry too much about efficiency. But that's the build, guys. Try it out and let me know what you think. Have fun killing the Reanimated, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
We need you to secure the memorial and remove the True Sons' forces. They maintain this outpost. The True Sons will be a direct threat to the campus.
Got something here.
No! I'll kill you for that!
Got a visual on additional hostiles in the memorial compound. They're moving south. There's a gate between you. It looks closed from here.
Agent, you'll need to find a way to open that gate.
hell was that?
Okay,
My armor's taking a bath.
all clear. I repeat, the compound is all clear.
No, that can't be all. Check the interior while I get Henry's people to maintain the perimeter.
I think we have enough.
Got this!
Damn it. The True Sons have turned the memorial into a base. There's an area beneath you with increased security. Isaac can't access data on this location. Stay alert. I don't know what you're walking into. According to the schematics Isaac pulled upstairs, we can lock that tunnel door from their control center. That should keep them from being able to transport those mortars loaded with DC-52.
Hostile engaged!
That should keep them from getting more of those mortars.
You think closing the tunnel is smart? You can lock yourself in with them. I'll make sure you rot down here.
Good work. Go on and head back up. The team from the campus has taken position inside the memorial.
If you hadn't stopped them, I know they would have used those weapons on us, and we would have ended up like Castle. I can't tell you how relieved I am to have you on our side. Thank you.
Today, we dealt a great blow to the True Sons infrastructure. We confiscated a massive cache of chemical weapons and eliminated a stronghold near the campus. You should be proud. You saved a lot of lives today.